Hi, my name is Paul Moat. I'm the Communications Director for the Lehigh Valley Tea Party, and this is the fourth in our series of Meet the Candidates podcast. Today, we have Mr. Roger MacLean, who's running for Lehigh County Executive.
Well, first of all, Paul, thank you for inviting me here today, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Allentown, educated in Allentown Public Schools. I did 2 years at the L-Tri-C. Back then it was Lehigh County Community College. Now it's Lehigh Carbon Community College. Then I went back to school when I was working at Allentown College, now DeSales University, and I finished my bachelor's degree and went right on and got my master's degree in criminal justice. So that was my educational. I have 6 grown children that I'm extremely proud of and I love dearly. My oldest is a mechanical engineer. My second oldest is a sergeant in the police department in Portland, Maine. My next oldest is a probation parole officer. That's my oldest daughter. My second daughter is a nurse in Philadelphia, Thomas Jefferson Hospital, who just gave me my 3rd granddaughter.
Really?
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thanks. March 24th. Yep. Beautiful, healthy little girl. And then my next one is my son, my youngest son. He's currently a staff sergeant in the United States Army, stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado. He's been to Iraq, he's been to Poland, and he really doesn't know where he's going next, but we'll find out eventually. And then my youngest is my daughter in California. She is a contract compliance specialist, which I never heard of, but that's what she's been doing since she graduated college. So, and she's good at it. So, but that's my family. They're spread out from Maine to California, so it's nice when I get to see them. I mean, it's nice having a granddaughter that's only an hour away instead of my other 2 that are 8 hours away in Maine. But I try and get up as often as I can. And of course, I'm going to be getting down to Philadelphia as often as I can too, to see that granddaughter. Mm-hmm. I spent almost 40 years, just shy of 40 years on the Allentown Police Department as a police officer. I spent over a year as a cadet when I was 20. And then I took the test and got on when I was 21. I held every job in the police department, almost every job in the police department. I was a patrol officer. I rode motorcycles. I actually rode horses back in the early 80s. We still had horses, and that was fun. That was a good time, but there were only 2 of us, and one of us had to be there to take care of the horses every day, 7 days a week. And if one of us went on vacation for 2 weeks, that meant the other guy was stuck doing it for 2 weeks. So, but it's the things you do. I worked patrol. I was a detective. I got promoted to lieutenant, went back out on patrol, and then I was promoted to captain, and we had captains in charge of what we called police service areas in the city. I had the east side of Allentown when I was a patrol captain, and then in 2006 I was named chief, where I spent the last 8 years of my career till 2013 when I retired. I tell people it was the worst 8 years of my career because I was as far away from police work as you could. It was all administrative, and I spent 90% of my time dealing with 10% of the personnel. So, but then when I retired in 2013, Jim Martin, who was the district attorney at the time, offered me a position in a new venture in crime fighting that was being put into action, and it was called the Regional Intelligence and Investigation Center. It has since been named the James B. Martin Regional Intelligence and Investigation Center in his honor, since he was the pioneer of it. He pushed for it, and basically it's a room with a bunch of computers, and we have crime analysts in there. Julia Kosis is the director, and they take requests from police officers, detectives, and police officers throughout all of Lehigh County, and even Northampton County and Berks County, and actually from anywhere. If the benefits of the RIC have spread around the law enforcement community, so a lot of people know that they can just call and they can get the information they want, cell phone data, whatever it might be. There's all kinds of things that they do. These crime analysts, these young ladies are really good at vocation,
Hmm.
very good at their vocation. So anyhow, I worked there till May of last year, and I was in retirement, and I jokingly but seriously tell people from May to December I only set the alarm 3 times, which was a nice feeling. But then when this opportunity came up, I had to jump in because I feel somebody has to prevent Josh Siegel from being the county executive.
Hmm.
He's
Sure.
way too far left and way too far liberal.
Hmm.
But that brings us to today. I'm here. I'm campaigning. Uh, we're only a couple days away from the primary election, and I'm feeling good, and hopefully things work out so I can
Hmm.
take on Josh Siegel in the general election.
Hmm. Let me say that in 23, the Lehigh Valley was declared a major crime corridor by the Biden administration.
Uh,
And so we need someone with that background
yeah,
in this position.
yeah, I appreciate that, and one of the I forgot to mention that we'll get back to the crime fighting area, but I forgot to mention that I did 4 years on Allentown City Council, and I explain this to everybody whenever I can, that because my opponent in the primary keeps saying that he was a lifelong Republican and that I was a Democrat. In 2014, there was an opening on the Allentown City Council. I sat down with Jim because there were some ordinances that the city was passing, like the cell phone ordinance, and there was a gun ordinance that they wanted to pass, which was contrary to state law. And Jim, being the district attorney and the hard district attorney that he wasn't going to have it. So anyhow, to try and put some what I thought was conservative values into city council, I met with Jim and I said, I'm thinking of putting my name in for this opening on city council. And he said, we batted back and forth. And I said, I just want to make sure that there's no conflict of interest with my position here working for you. And thought about it. We discussed it. And he said, no. He said, I don't think it's a problem at all. As a matter of fact, he said to me, I kind of think it's a good idea, meaning that I could be a voice of reason in there. And I said to him, well, the bad news is that I have to change to Democrat because it's the Democrat position that's open, and you have to. And he just looked at me and he said, "Well, you've done dumber stuff than that in your life, anyhow." So Jim's been a friend for many years, a good mentor, and still a friend. As a matter of fact, he just called me shortly before I came up here to see how I was doing. But
Yeah.
um, so anyhow, I did, and I interviewed for the position, but I didn't get it. So then I kind of got a little irritated. So I thought, okay, they don't want to give it to me. I'll run. So I ran and I came in first in the general election. So I was the highest vote getter in the general election. I spent 4 years on city council. 2 of the years were as president. But I tried to bring some normalcy and some common sense and some good conservative thought to the city council and the decisions that were being discussed, the issues that were being discussed. Um, but I also tell people that when I did switch in 2014, that the only thing that changed was a D and an R on the paper. My values did not change.
Mhm.
I've been conservative my whole life. Um, Pro Second Amendment, pro First Amendment, pro all amendments. To be
Mhm.
quite honest with you, so I don't like to pick them all out. And one of the discussions that we had with PBS 39 was about the county being a sanctuary county, and it's not a sanctuary county. What it is if somebody is picked up, e- either the central booking or the prison will contact ICE,
Mhm.
and if there's a detainer, if they're wanted by ICE, instead of a detainer now, the ICE has to send a warrant. And this was because of a federal court case. The county wound up paying 90 some $1,000, I think, to a guy who was held for the weekend on a verbal detainer,
Okay.
and it turned out to be the wrong guy.
Oh.
Yeah, so the county got sued, and they wound up having to pay some money for it. So to me, I, requiring a warrant from ICE or any other police department is not is not a problem. I mean, we've done it when we had people that were apprehended out of state, and we wanted in Allentown.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the job. So,
Mm-hmm.
but my opponent, he thinks we should just hold them on a detainer, and the federal judge unfortunately said you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to go by what the court ruling was, and I don't see it as a burden, and I don't see us as a sanctuary county,
Mm-hmm.
and nor will I do anything to make us a sanctuary county because
Please.
I am pro law enforcement. In case 40 years didn't prove it enough, I'm still pro law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I was on city council, with the city, we had a pretty substantial budget. Before that, when I was on the police department, I had about a $35 million budget for the police, and the communication center was also under that. Um, I'm used to working with people. I've worked as in my position with the city on the police department. I negotiated a contract. I've dealt with grievances. I've dealt with arbitrations. As a matter of fact, when I became chief, there were about 2 dozen outstanding grievances from a previous chief. And what I did was I got a hold of the FOP, I got a hold of the city solicitor and human resources, and we sat down in my conference room and we worked out. I think we settled 22 of the 24 grievances, and it cost the city $3,000. One arbitration cost more than $3,000. So
Yeah.
you got to be able to work with the union, um, work with politicians, um, work with the solicitors. I've done all that with the city, and I've done it when I was on city council too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my entire career on the police department, especially as you start to move up, you wind up. Um, I guess the best way to put it is you wind up dealing with more with people that are politically influential. I never once asked a person if they were Republican or Democrat, if they needed help, or if something was wrong that we had to look into. We did it. It didn't matter. We had to do what was right for the police department. So, and I feel the same way for the citizens of the county of Lehigh. We've got to do what's right for them.
Sure.
And I think managing people like I did in the police department, my experiences, like I just said, with the grievance procedure contract and whatnot, and budgeting when I was on city council. Back to the police department, my budget was about $35 million. It was in excess of $30 million, and every 2 weeks I would get a printout on the budget. It would tell me what percentage of the budget was used in all different fields: personnel, uniforms, whatnot. And I always looked at the overtime budget because my whole feeling on the budget, whether it be the police department or whether it be the county, this is the taxpayers' money. I spend that money like I would spend my own, and I'm a frugal guy. I don't spend money lavishly. So um, it's the taxpayers' money, and they deserve to have somebody to watch over it and spend it properly and spend it wisely.
Sure.
Um, I will bring that into the county executive office also. One of the issues that I think we have to look at is the budget itself, because for the last couple of years they've been plugging the holes with some American Rescue Plan Act money, which is COVID money that was doled out. Um, if it's not this year, if it's either this year or next year, but I think it's this year that goes away.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to find a way to manage that budget, because you can't keep plugging a hole you can't keep robbing Peter to pay Paul, because one of these days Peter's going to run out of money,
Yeah.
and we have to. That's one of the issues that I think is very important to tackle. Um, my campaign is I want to preserve farmland, but I also think we can. I think that we can preserve farmland and also have smart strategic development in the county of Lehigh. And what I mean by that is, why build a warehouse in the middle of a beautiful field when we have industrial parks all over the place where there are warehouses? We could keep them together, I guess.
Sure.
The example I use, and I'll throw it out again, is over by the Coca-Cola ballpark, Iron Pigs ballpark.
Mhm.
They built a warehouse there. They finished it, I think, last year about this time. It may have been a little more towards summer. I don't remember the exact date because I just assumed somebody was moving into it. Well, nobody's moved into it. It's still sitting there empty.
Really?
Yeah, still sitting there
But
empty.
meanwhile, we're building one behind the Walmart here in town.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes, it's still sitting there empty. If
Wow.
you go over American Parkway and cut up through, like you're going into the ballpark off of American Parkway,
Yep.
you're going to
I
run
know
right
where
into
you
it.
are. Yeah.
You run right into it.
I didn't know that.
It's empty. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. It's kind of surprised me too, because I thought, why would you spend that kind of money if you didn't have a tenant for it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and why would you build another one
yeah. Yeah.
close to it,
Yep.
close to MacArthur, which is going to wreak havoc on the traffic?
Oh, the traffic already is bad. Yeah, the traffic
On
already is
Trapp
bad.
Avenue? Oh my
Yep.
God.
Oh, and Airport Road, you have the same thing too with, and Amazon just has all those trucks because they just built another
Yeah.
warehouse up there. But
But
we could do it.
we order so much from Amazon, they're putting a distribution center at the end of my driveway.
my my youngest daughter is on my Amazon account, and almost weekly I see she's purchasing something. Usually nothing very expensive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But and every once in a while, when she checks out, now she's been pretty good here of late. She forgot to make sure that she checked on her credit card when you check out because it came on my bill. She offered to pay me, but I told her no because it wasn't expensive anyhow. So it's your kids, you do
Yeah,
what you do what you do.
It's your kids.
But yep.
So what else? So a couple of issues. What other issues
Oh,
would you
sure.
like to talk about?
Well, like I said, one of the issues I think is the budget.
Oh,
That
yeah.
we definitely have to address that. Um, I think the jail has been fighting to staff itself with prison guards,
Mhm.
jail officers, whatever they call them now. That's an issue that has to be addressed. Some of the departments are short-staffed.
Is it really a retention, or is it people not
That's what
entering the field?
that's what I think it's probably a combination of both. But to get to the bottom of it, I got to get in and talk to
Mhm.
the department heads and find out what exactly are the issues that are preventing people from maybe applying and or staying.
Mhm.
And
Well, a change from Democrat to Republican, I think, would go a long way towards increasing, you know, morale,
yeah,
keeping people,
yep,
making people want to sign up for it.
right. Hope,
Just like in the military now,
right.
all of a sudden, enrollment's back up.
My I said to my son, oh, this is probably last year. I said to him, actually, it was after the election, so it was probably November or December. I said to him, so now tell me, what's the sentiment in the military? He said that everybody he knows is so happy they can't stand it because
That's great.
they now they have a commander in chief,
Hmm. Yeah.
and they enjoy it.
Hmm.
They enjoy it. And the military has to know you have their back, and it's like
Same with police, firemen.
police, fire, right,
Yeah.
and the people that work in the county too, that work in the communication center, that
Mhm.
work in children and youth, that work in aging and adult services.
Yeah.
They've got to have the tools, and they've got to know that we're going to have their back. We're going to do everything we can to make their job. I don't want to say enjoyable, but a job that they want to come to every day.
If you don't have support
Yep.
from the people who hire you, it's not
Right.
good for you.
Right.
Um,
Got to have some support. But those are some of the issues that I think I can deal with in the county. I mean, it's just a lot of that is just a matter of talking to people. Um, Obviously, when I was chief, I had to have meetings, but my philosophy of meetings was way different than some other people's philosophy. First thing I said is, why are we here? What's the problem? What are we going to do about the problem? And who's going to do it? And let's get out of here and get done. I didn't like long drawn out meetings. They waste everybody's time as far as I'm concerned.
oh, it's funny
Yeah.
you say that. When I used to have meetings, I
Yeah.
took the chairs out of the room.
Really? That's
It's,
good.
it's funny how fast meetings go when people
When you don't have
sit
chairs.
there.
Yep. Yep. But and it's up. It would be up to me as the county executive, as it was when I was the police chief. I set the tone for the meeting. get it done and let's go. Somebody has to do it. Let's get on the ball here.
Mm-hmm. So I think, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to like a huge increase in our economy. We're going to see a huge increase here because of all the good things that are happening, nationwide. So there's going to be a big influx of money, I believe.
I believe so too,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I certainly hope so. I mean, a lot of money that the county gets is from state and federal dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So it's our money that we've sent up there. They took their vig and
right,
sent it back
and
to
then
us.
send it right.
Yeah,
We send them 10 and they give us 5 back.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. But
But even like businesses and um, you know, people moving in, and that come with the businesses and all the secondary businesses that come with the increase in the economic activity. Don't you think that that's going to really take care of the hole that you were talking about that they're going to see?
I certainly hope so.
Right? You
I
would,
certainly hope
yeah,
so
yeah.
because I'm not for a tax increase.
No, no.
No, I'm not for a tax increase. People are taxed enough.
Mhm.
Um, if Josh Siegel gets in, he's he's already proposing an income tax and a sales tax increase. And I mean, especially a sales tax in Lehigh County. If you live over on the east side of Allentown, you can drive 1 block and do your grocery shopping at the Giant in Bethlehem
Mhm.
versus the one on the east side on Hanover Avenue.
Yep.
Well, why wouldn't you if you can save money?
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
people there are people with monetary issues, and that
Sure.
they're pinching pennies. Some people don't know they have to cut back here to pay here. So
Mhm.
it's something we have to consider as being in a political position like that,
Mhm.
especially when you're talking about a $550 million county budget.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, and some people just don't have money.
Yep. Um, and I think there's always opportunities. You go over a budget with a fine tooth comb, even down to buying paper and copiers and infrastructure maintenance,
Right.
HVAC maintenance, things like that. There's always, if you want to, you can find savings. I really believe that.
Correct. Um, Former Mayor Bill Hite, who was mayor of Allentown for a while, who just recently passed away, um, that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He went in, pennies equal dollars and dollars equal hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
dollars,
Yeah.
and you just got to look at everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I spend my money when I was with the city as if it were my own money. And again, like I'm frugal. I don't like to waste money.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the primary election, I mean, Mike Welsh is my opponent. I've known Mike for years. Um, I just think that I have the edge when it comes to the position from my managerial experience with the police department, with city council. Now he did do a stint on the school board, but he didn't finish for some reason. I don't know. I think he moved or whatever. But I think that gives me a leg up on it. As I said earlier, dealing with contracts, grievances, and all those other things also gives me, I think, an edge. When it comes to the general election, um, uh, polar opposites with Josh Siegel. Josh Siegel is always anti-police. Now, for some reason, he seems to be turning more pro-police. Um, he's more tax and spend liberal. Um, he protested vehemently with a bunch of people in front of the police department at 10th and Hamilton Streets. I'm sorry. After an incident down at Sacred Heart Hospital, um, they then went out to the then mayor's house. Ray O'Connell was the mayor at the time, and were protesting in front of his house. And in fact, he gave out the mayor's cell phone number to some of the protesters, which resulted in 40 some phone calls um, to the house. And the mayor's wife at that time was battling an illness. Um, just not smart thinking. Um, a lot of the points that he wants to do now are invest in this, invest in that. Um, I spoke at well, the three of us spoke. Mike, Josh, and I spoke at a candidates night at St. Luke's Church in Allentown. The Crime Watch invited us to it. And the League of Women Voters actually asked the questions. And they asked all three of us to take a minute and figure out what 3 items that we felt would need to be addressed in the county. Mike gave his 3 items. Josh gave his 3 items. So that was 6 items. And they got to me, and I said, "I'm sorry, but the first item I'm looking at is the budget," because neither of them mentioned the budget. We've got the budget issue to worry about, or to look at. We have Josh Siegel wants to have a mobile curing van to go around and help people cure their ballots. He wants more drop boxes. I honestly don't. I would prefer if we had election day. Again, I don't know how we did it for all those years, and now all of a sudden we can't do it.
And how other countries do it
Right.
perfectly.
Absolutely. But I don't see that happening. So I think if we're going to have drop boxes, and this was what I said, let's have one in the north, south, east, and west of the county. That's it. They're in a municipal building, and that's locked, and there's no dropping ballots in the middle of the night. It just it makes a voter feel more secure that somebody's not stuffing a ballot box or whatever. Are there? Where did I just see that somewhere there were like 100 and some thousand, like 100. I want to say 180 some thousand ballots were mailed out, but they got over 200,000 back in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That certainly should not be, but we need to have the ballot security, and the only way to do that is to have a camera on it, or have it secured so it's not available 24/7.
Now,
If somebody
cleaning up voter rolls.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. That's a big thing to do.
I don't know if they've done it yet in the county, but I know in 23 that the county would not give out the juror rolls, because the juror rolls, if somebody comes in, we know that they've been given illegals driver's licenses here for a long time.
Yeah.
And they love just getting everybody on the voter rolls. But now you also get on the juror rolls. So somebody who's not here legally gets the juror summons. They say, "Well, I can't be on the jury. I'm not a citizen." But they'll vote.
Right.
Or they may not vote, but the Democrats have a ballot that they can use to whatever they want to do with it.
Right.
So a lot of other states have cleaned up their voter rolls by comparing the two, the voter rolls to the juror rolls.
The juror rolls, which is.
But I know that 2 years ago, the county would not give up the juror rolls for a comparison.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
tried to follow up to see if they have yet, but I haven't heard back. But that was one thing that was happening.
If that's a county executive decision,
yes, I would imagine
we can take care of that.
Yes, yes,
we can take care of that. But yeah, actually, that's why I got back into this, because I saw Josh Siegel after a city council meeting when he was on city council, and it was another meeting where he voted no when it came to hiring police officers, and I just looked at him and I said, "When are you going to stop voting no on hiring cops?" It just seemed crazy. They were still below staffing. Believe it or not, people in high crime areas want to see the cops because they're the ones that are affected the most. Yep, and you don't know how much you need a cop until you become a victim of something. Yeah. And I think Josh Siegel is just short-sighted on a lot of issues, on a lot of issues. But when it comes to public safety, he was short-sighted. But now he seems to be moving the other way. But
it's funny how that happens around
election times. Yeah, and I question. I mean, he's a state representative. He's got a job as a state representative. Why does he want to run for county executive? Yeah. That to me just doesn't make sense. But
so he tried running for mayor.
He tried running for mayor and lost.
Okay.
And then he ran for city council. He didn't finish out city council because he got this. Actually, he worked for Mark Pinsley then in the county controller's office for a
Oh,
while
okay.
because they're buddies. They're the one. They had actually during COVID, they both authored a paper about having a extra sales tax in Lehigh County and an income tax.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I still have that paper, but I remember reading it, and it was like you're hurting people. You're hurting the people of the county.
I'll find it and I'll put a link to it on the
There you go. It's out there
on
somewhere.
this
It was
video.
made. It was made public. Yep.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
but anyhow, that I you know I'm actually I'm hoping for the support in the primary election. Um, I'm hoping that I prevail there, and I feel pretty good, and then take a little time off, and then start working on Josh Siegel.
Yeah.
And it's not a personal thing; it's a political thing. I like I said, my values were always conservative,
Mhm.
no matter what letter was behind my name.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
well, hopefully with the push for more manufacturing in the United States, the county can be a beneficiary of some of that, and that we can continue to grow the county in a smart, strategic way, so it's still a great place for the citizens, for you and I to live, and anybody else, and the people that come here to work and enjoy it. I think we can do that. I know we can do that. It's just a matter of having the right leadership to do it.
Mhm.
The airport, I think, had one of. I just heard a news release that they had one of their best years last year, and you can see the difference in the airport just from. And I keep comparing it to COVID when the parking lots were empty and now they're overflowing.
Mhm.
Because when I travel, I usually try and travel out of ABE also.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's prime air. They're bringing stuff to my house. That's
oh,
why
really?
the
Yeah,
extra traffic is.
yeah, yep. I see the plane come in. So if your driveway was a little longer, you could just land here, right? But I think that's a jewel. I mean, the modernization they did, the upgrades they did to the airport, I think are nice. Um, I when I do travel, I wind up talking to people from New Jersey who come here to fly out of ABE
Mhm.
or Lehigh Valley International, whatever we want to call it. But I prefer ABE because I'm old fashioned. Um, and hopefully they still keep coming. Hopefully it still keeps growing. It's employment, it's jobs. I mean, Allegiant has this as one of their hubs, Lehigh Valley.
It was a net positive for the county.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. The other thing is Cedar Brook. I mean, they're building an addition on the Cedar Brook. It's I mean, it's needed. There's an aging population in Lehigh County, and it's something that's needed. And I don't know what the expected completion date is on it, but it's moving along because I live out near there, so I drive through that back road once in a while, and I can see it.
Yeah.
Yep. And when I was working with the county, I'd have to go out to the county garage to get drop the car for inspection or get gas in the car or whatever
Mhm.
because it was a county vehicle. But I think the counties we have to keep our fiscal house in order, and I think we can move along greatly and attract business here and grow nicely with still keeping our green spaces, which is I think very important. Um, Lower Macungie, I just bought a tract that a developer wanted to put apartments on, and Lower Macungie bought the land, and they're going to keep it open.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if they're going to put a park there or what, but they'll probably do something with it. But it's not going to be a bunch of apartments and townhouses.
Mhm.
So it'll less traffic, less less issues. But,
Sure.
and then
These high density
the,
housing, it's a bigger burden on the municipality, the county.
right,
So I think that single family homeowners are kind of lost. They they're not represented as much as the people who are putting up these gigantic housing developments.
right. And I saw a study somewhere, and I forget who did it, but they say that the farmland, the cost to the municipality is 30 cents on a dollar. Residential is about 90 some cents to a dollar, and commercial is 90 some cents to a dollar, and that residential is like $1.50
Mhm.
of every tax dollar. because you have more people, you have schools, you have public safety, fire. Those costs are figured into that equation.
Sure.
I appreciate the time, and I just want to address the voters and say that hopefully I can get your vote on Tuesday, May 20th. It's gonna be an important election, and it's an off-year election, but I think it's important it's important for us to get out and vote and make sure we get everybody else out to vote. I would appreciate your vote, and I hope that I get it, and I can move on to running against Josh Siegel.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It was very informative.
Yep.
I learned a lot.
Yep. From me?
Yes. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks, Paul.
Joe?